Happy Monday, everybody. I'm just going to check on the back end and make sure that I'm actually going live. But if you're here, I'd love for you to wave hello and say hello in the comments and let me know what you are up to today. Let's see here. All right, I'm just going to give people a second to hop on. How's everybody doing today? What are you up to? Hey, Brooke, thank you for joining. I'm going to make sure this live is working. Okay. What are you up to today, Brooke? Okay, it is working. Just wanted to make sure. Thank you for joining. Okay, so hey Liz, thanks for hopping on. So I wanted to share something today with you guys that I posted a little bit about last week, but sometimes it's easier to articulate and have a conversation about this than it is to write a post. And, we have a lot of posts and a lot of traffic in this group, and so things get missed easily. But I wanted to, one, check in and just see how everybody's doing, because I think I kind of liken this quarantine to a little bit of a grief process, in the sense of, not in the sense of we're grieving something per se, but in the cycle of grief. Hey, Kristen, thank you for joining. And the cycle of grief is, how does it go? Denial, anger, wait, no, I'm getting it backwards, but you have all of these stages of grief. So denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And whenever we have, a life-altering event, which for most of us, our life has been altered in some way. Maybe we know somebody that's been sick with coronavirus. Maybe we know somebody that's died. Maybe we know somebody that's lost a job. Maybe we have lost a job. There's multiple different layers to this. Many of you, myself included, have had to not only begin working from home, which thankfully I was already doing before, but many of you were not, and are now schooling your children on top of that. Hey, Lindsay. So there is this, denial that this is actually as big as we think it is. Anger that, we're being so restricted, and why can't we just go to the grocery store? And now I'm being forced between going to the grocery store with my kids and exposing them, or leaving them in the car and maybe like getting in trouble for that. Bargaining is where, if I just do this, then this will change the outcome. Denial or depression is where we finally realize that, okay, this has really changed our lives. And acceptance is finally accepting the new reality of what's happening. So I would love to hear if any of you have been experiencing any of the stages of that. And then I want to kind of tie in with that what your support looks like. Hey, Brittany. And why you cannot afford not to prioritize yourself right now. So a lot of the women that I've been talking to in the last few weeks know that there are issues with their hormones. They know that, and feeling all stages in the same day. Yes, that is appropriate. And I think realizing that the unknowns, there's a lot that we don't know about coronavirus. I'm going to kind of move between subjects here, so I hope that's okay for people. There's a lot that we don't know about coronavirus. What we do know, just as a nurse, we know the nature of viruses, and the nature of viruses is to mutate. The nature of viruses is to take over their host. And this particular virus has an affinity for respiratory organs. So, meaning that it has an affinity for your lungs and your heart. So, the more that we can do to strengthen our lungs and our heart, the more we can do to easily move through this process and have, very minimal effects from it. But the reality is there's just so much we don't know yet, because we've not experienced coronavirus in this capacity before. What we do know is, just like any other virus, if you have diabetes, you have underlying heart issues, you have obesity, if you have autoimmune issues, you are more you are predisposed to having an increased risk for this virus, just like you do with any other virus. So, media aside, all of the information aside, the rules still apply that the most that you can do for your health right now, the better off you're going to be. So the more you can do to make sure you're getting antioxidants through your food and getting oxygen to your organs by moving your body, which is going to help reduce your stress hormones, which means that your body is going to get the nutrients that it needs to move through this easily. The better off you're going to be, and the less risk you have. And so this is what I mean when I say that you cannot afford to not prioritize yourself right now. And I shared this in a post last week about how when my daughter was first diagnosed with her autoimmune encephalitis, which if you don't know what encephalitis is, it's swelling of regions of the brain. You can have encephalitis on the neurotransmitters themselves. You can have swelling of the entire brain, the meninges, the spinal column, all of those. There's varying degrees of encephalitis. But we were quite literally, our world was flipped upside down overnight. I mean, she had a strep infection, we cleared the infection, and then her body had an autoimmune reaction to the strep bacteria, and literally our lives were flipped upside down overnight. And I learned in that season, and this is what I was sharing, I learned in that season that I cannot afford to not prioritize myself. Even if everything else is flipped upside down, her needs are the biggest priority because we have to get her well. We have to get healing happening in the brain. We have to reduce the inflammation so that we don't have long-term brain damage. There's a lot of factors here. And it left me giving the least to myself because all of our finances were going towards healing this issue. Now, I would liken that to what we're experiencing right now, where there is worldwide crisis. Maybe if you haven't experienced it in your home, we're still feeling it because everyone is feeling it right now. There's a lot of uncertainties. There's a lot of unknowns that creates a lot of physiologic and emotional stress for people. And we're forced in our homes and we can't do all the things that we would normally do to take care of ourselves, and going to the grocery store is risky and all the things. And now if you have kids at home with you, now you have an extra workload. They're beautiful. We love them, but we can be honest and acknowledge that it is more work, and that's okay. It is so easy in this place, you guys, to lose the routine, stop taking care of yourself, quit doing the things that make you feel good. And what happens when we do that? Not only do our hormones pay the price in the sense of increased hot flashes, night sweats, mood swings, PMS, painful periods, etc., but we actually, our immune system begins to go down because our stress is going up. So now is not the time to not prioritize yourself. I would actually argue that now there's not been a better time than now to prioritize yourself. So I would love to hear in the comments what you are doing to make sure that you get your needs met in this season. Whether that's going for a walk every day or making sure that your husband takes the kids for an hour when he comes home from work, whether that is, whatever that is, shoot me a message in the comments. I want to hear, because you can't afford not to prioritize yourself right now. And this is something that I've been having lots of conversations with people this week. A lot of the women in the Happy Hormones program were just sharing how thankful they are to have the additional support right now, because without it, we would be lost, right? We would be without support and without the knowing what to do and what to focus on and how can I make sure that when I come out of this, I don't have worsening symptoms than I have right now, because when we don't take care of ourselves, that is what happens. So I want to hear how you are prioritizing yourself, what you're doing to make sure that you get your basic emotional and physiologic needs met. that you're not forgetting to take care of your hormones even during this time. And if you are not sure even where to start and you just want clarity on what to do next, then type in the comments, "That's me," and I will make sure to PM you some ideas and thoughts, okay? But I'm sharing this with you as somebody who has experienced multiple crises in my life. And I want to go back, and I'm sorry, I have squirrel brain today. I apologize. Um, when I first had my hormone crash, we'll call it a crash, whatever you want to call it, after my daughter was born, she was 9 months old, and I was having really, really, really bad periods, insomnia, like I didn't sleep for days. I was having night sweats. I was having crazy, like, mood swings, and didn't get any help from my doctor. Um, and let's see here. Liz says, drinking water and gut health is my main focus every day. Yep, that's awesome. I love that. And when I first, we didn't get the help that we needed from the doctors that we had insurance with, our conventional medicine doctors, and I felt a lot of guilt and shame about prioritizing my health. And there were a lot of core beliefs there that I didn't know I had until I was now forced in this position to have needs that cost a lot of money. And by a lot of money, I mean like probably $400 to $500 every appointment. I'll have to go back and look at the receipts, but I know seeing the doctor alone was $300, and we spent probably close to $200 a month on supplements. Now, at that time, I was not working. I couldn't work. I was too sick, and I had a baby at home, and my priority was getting better, and I felt so much guilt about prioritizing myself. And it wasn't coming from anybody particular. My husband was super supportive. He's like, we'll do whatever we need to do. We'll put it on the credit card. You need to get better. So that when this is over, you're able to go back to work and you're able to do the things that are life-giving to you. And even with him saying that, I had so much internal questioning, and am I really worth it? And what if I spend all this money and it doesn't work? And what if I don't actually get better? And so much of it, like I said, was just that underlying belief that I didn't actually deserve it. And a lot of the women that I've been talking to in the last couple weeks, it's the same thing. It's not really ever about the finances, although sometimes it is, and there is a legitimacy to that, especially now. But if you dig a little bit deeper underneath that, almost always it's this this belief that I have to make sure everybody else is doing okay before I'm okay. Instead of saying, I'm going to make sure that I'm okay, and when I'm okay, I'm able to make sure everybody else is okay too. And I'm able to give so much more, hey Layla, when I'm feeling well, when I'm taking care of myself, when I'm not in survival mode, when I'm making sure that I'm getting enough sleep and drinking enough water and going for walks and doing the things so that when that monthly comes around, I am not a hot mess central. And that is the whole purpose of the Happy Hormones program, by the way. It's to equip you with the strategies and tools so that you don't have that experience every single month. Or if you're in perimenopause or menopause, you're not having hot flashes and mood swings and night sweats. And so I share this to say that I learned the hard way that not prioritizing yourself in crisis is the absolute worst thing you can do. And if you are ready to get some clarity on where you're stuck, how to improve your symptoms, what you're doing well, and what needs to be looked at, then I want you to type "that's me" in the comments. And like I said, I will PM you and we'll have a conversation, and I will get you some tools and strategies to move forward, okay? I also want to hear in the comments what you're doing to take care of yourself, because that's really important too. So again, last plug, you cannot afford to not take care of yourself in this season. So thank you. Have a great rest of your day, and we will be in touch.